Good evening. The Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, is advising the public that the Meteorological Service of Jamaica has issued a severe weather alert for the island.
Now, this weekend we're monitoring two systems. We have a tropical wave expected to be passing across the island on Friday, and we also have Tropical Storm Elsa, named early this morning, that is expected to be passing across the island and affecting us on Sunday. So for the tropical wave tomorrow, we are expecting that Jamaica will be experiencing an increase in cloudy conditions across the island, beginning in the morning, especially across the east. We're expecting showers and a few thunderstorms across eastern parishes in the morning, which continues into central and western parishes by afternoon. We're expecting a decrease in cloudy conditions on Saturday, but by Saturday night we should begin to experience the effects of Tropical Storm Elsa, which should be very close to the island at that time. So an increase in clouds, an increase in wind speeds, and a few showers are also expected, mainly across eastern parishes between Saturday night and Sunday morning, continuing across central and western parishes by Sunday afternoon. Now, we have a small craft warning that has been in effect for offshore areas of the south coast from Monday, but we're expecting to have a small craft warning and a gale warning in effect for both north and south coast by tomorrow night. Also, it continues into Saturday as well as Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. We're expecting that this warning should be lifted by about Monday, but the warning should take effect for both inshore and offshore areas of both the north and the south coasts.
The ODPEM is also advising persons in low-lying and flood-prone areas such as St. Mary, Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston and St. Andrew, St. Catherine, Clarendon and Manchester to exhibit caution and be prepared to move to higher ground as it becomes necessary. In other news tonight, Minister Desmond McKenzie visited disaster shelters yesterday in the parish of St. Mary to assess firsthand the readiness of the shelters for the hurricane season. Here is Javon Thomas with more on this story.
Minister of Local Government and Community Development Desmond McKenzie visited the parish of St. Mary, including the Anoto Bay High School, yesterday to assess its readiness as a shelter for the hurricane season.
I'm here at Anoto Bay High School, and again, I must say how very impressed I am. I want to give commendations to the parish disaster coordinator and to the mayor and the team, and especially to the principal and the staff here at Anoto Bay High School. Today's tour is very critical because St. Mary is one of our critical parishes, and it is a parish that we have seen in previous hurricane season where sections of the parishes have been affected by heavy rains and floodings. All our municipalities, the mayors have been put on alert. I have asked the mayors to ensure that all the parish disaster committees are on standby, and if needs be, if there are any critical drains that we need to get clean, that will help to contribute to flooding, we will allow those to take place.
Meanwhile, Norman Dunn, the Member of Parliament for St. Mary, says that they are working to clean up the drainage systems in preparation for the hurricane season.
We tend to be very proactive in this parish. He would have outlined the work from the parish council, and from central government side, I mean, we were all allocated $1.5 million as Member of Parliament, and we have in fact looked around a very small amount of money, but we have looked around for the critical drains that we need to ensure that is prepared for the season. So in effect, I mean, we are prepared somewhat. We are yet to see how impactful, if any, weather system comes, how it will be, but I'm sure with Minister McKenzie and the energy that he has and the commitment that this government have, I mean, we will see how best we can mitigate against any foreseen incident that may occur. I want to say personally how pleased I am also, Ms. Janke, and the Municipal Corporation for the work they have done. I mean, you'd have seen on the tour, I mean, the preparedness of these places to accommodate not just persons who will be affected, but persons with the possibility of COVID, because COVID is also here. And a lot of preparation has gone in place to ensure that that is brought into consideration in whatever we do. So Minister Mackenzie, thank you very much for being proactive. Thank you very much for being here. And I want to say on behalf of the Councillor Hugh Bryan for this particular division and all the other councillors for the divisions in Southeast St. Mary, I want to say to you that we will do our best to ensure that we are on top of what is happening, and we'll reach out to you in the event that we need the assistance.
According to Deputy Director General of ODPEM, Richard Thompson, the country is prepared for any eventuality during this season.
Our shelter protocols from last year have inputted in it COVID imperatives, and we have seen so far where the shelters in St. Mary have had all isolation areas. The one here at Anotabe High is like a 5-star hotel, so I must give the team credit for that. I think so far is one of the best that we have seen on the tours that we have been doing across the island, looking at the shelters and looking at the isolation areas. We have worked extremely hard, the ODPEM team, the local authorities, and all other members of the National Disaster Risk Management set up to ensure that the country is prepared. And as we go into deep into the season where we are mostly affected, then we can assure the country that the team is prepared and the country is prepared for any eventuality. And you would have heard from Minister Mackenzie about what possibly will be happening this weekend, that there is preparation as well for that if we should have any aspect of flooding across the country.
I'm Javon Thomas reporting for Mello TV News.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is advising persons who are due their second dose of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine to make an appointment. The ministry says the registration portal for scheduling an appointment is now open. Persons can make an appointment by visiting the ministry's website at www.moh.gov.jm or by calling the National Vaccination Hotline at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Persons who receive an appointment confirmation should take their vaccination card, TRN, and a government-issued identification or letter from a Justice of the Peace to the site to receive their second dose. The ministry says it has been advised about the possibility of inclement weather for this weekend, and therefore persons making their way to a vaccination site should ensure they walk with an umbrella and take the necessary precautions when traveling to and from the vaccination sites. The public is being reminded that they are not fully vaccinated until they have received their second dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine, and as such are still required to follow the infection control and prevention protocols. Now, these include wearing a mask, sanitizing, social distancing, hand washing, and following the measures outlined in the Disaster Risk Management Act. Still tonight, Jamaica has recorded 76 new COVID-19 cases and 2 deaths from the virus in the last 24 hours. According to the Ministry of Health and Wellness, the latest fatalities are 2 females from the parishes of Kingston and St. Andrew and St. Anne. Now, this pushes the country's death toll to 1,082. Meanwhile, the new cases consist of 39 females and 37 males, ranging in age from 84 days to 90 years. This increases the total confirmed coronavirus cases on the island since the outbreak to 50,242. The new cases were recorded as follows. Kingston and St. Andrew recorded 24 cases. St. Elizabeth, 10 cases. Westmoreland recorded 9 cases. St. James, 8 cases. St. Catherine and St. Anne recorded 7 cases each. Hanover and Manchester recorded 4 cases each. Clarendon recorded 2 cases, and Trelawney recorded 1 case. Meanwhile, a total of 119 persons recovered from the virus in the last 24 hours, taking the total of recovered persons now to 30,311. There are 18,487 active cases of the virus on the island. As we continue with the news, as the government's adjusted COVID-19 containment measures in relation to the entertainment sector took effect yesterday, the police are reminding persons that the provisions of the Noise Abatement Act remain in force. This means that persons seeking to hold events of any size must seek permission from their local police. The Noise Abatement Act stipulates that an application must be made in writing to the superintendent in charge of the division at least 10 days before the date of the event. Now, the written application should contain relevant details such as the number of persons expected at the event and the proposed start and end times. The police are also reminding persons that other agencies, such as the municipal authority and copyright agencies, also have a part to play in the granting of permits to stage events. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is urging persons to consult with their local police when planning events to ensure the smooth resumption of activities in the sector. Still making Mello TV news, following the island-wide sick-out by junior doctors across the island, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Christopher Tufton addressed the matter during the virtual COVID Conversations media briefing last evening. Minister Tufton said it is a regrettable situation for so many doctors to be sick on a particular day, and there are issues to be resolved to make them well.
Today, of course, we had a number of them reporting sick, calling in sick, and we had approximately 47% or 488 of the 1,036 doctors reporting for work. We've monitored the situation. We've tried to ensure that services continued. The consultants came out and other support staff to ensure that the critical services were maintained. It's a regrettable situation for so many doctors to be not well on a particular day. And clearly there are issues that have to be resolved to make them well. And I've had a couple of meetings today. We started off late this evening because I was in a meeting and I left that meeting to come here. The PS is still in that meeting. I think we're making progress, but I'll say no more than that until the meeting ends, which hopefully will be soon, at which point I've asked that a statement be sent out to indicate where we are in terms of the discussions.
Dr. Tufton further stated that the ministry will be working towards resolving the situation in an amicable way.
I close that segment for now by saying that all our medical clinicians or medical practitioners are important. Public health is at a critical juncture. The country has depended on us and has given us support over the past 15 months to deal with this pandemic. There have been a lot of sacrifices made, and our medical team have been on the front line at all levels: nurses, doctors, community health aides, the epidemiologists, the planning people, and they've all made sacrifices. So the issues that we face and the decisions that are taken are in no way meant to devalue the importance of our clinicians and the public health team. They are all very important, and we always strive to resolve those issues and resolve them in an amicable way. And this is what we will work to do. We must always remind ourselves, however, that at the end of the day, we are committed to service, and the patients, the country, the people, and their health profile is what really occupies our priority and our commitment to that service. So we will continue to strive to maintain the highest possible standard whilst motivating those who provide that service.
We'll bring you more on this story in subsequent newscasts. Continuing with the news tonight, Opposition leader Mark Golding, in responding to reports that the Ministry of Health finally met with the Medical Doctors Association over what he called their long-standing and clearly valid concerns, noted that yesterday's pandemonium in the country's health system was occasioned by the government's disregard and negligence. He said the Prime Minister should never have allowed it to get to this point. Mr. Golding said, quote, "Yesterday's debacle was all the more shameful because the government let it happen during the COVID pandemic when our doctors, nurses, and other medical staff have been the real heroes, battling long and hard on the front lines of COVID-19 to save the lives of so many Jamaicans." End quote. He added that it is absolutely unconscionable that the government has continuously ignored the valid claims of these valiant public servants who have kept our healthcare system running in the most difficult and indeed dangerous working conditions. The opposition leader expressed relief that the government has eventually capitulated to some of the demands of the Medical Doctors Association, including the restructuring of the contracts of 25 doctors and the payment of overdue gratuities. And those are some of the stories making news. We will return with other stories as Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett says based on current projections, he expects the full return of the cruise industry in Jamaica between August and October of this year. And the Registrar General's Department, RGD, is reporting that all electronic birth records now feature a civil registration number, CRN, a code to be used as a unique identifier in linking records of vital events. But first, we'll go to a break and then join Christopher Scott with the very latest in sports.